said to kill the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for our legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding cause we all came from hunger pain.
Yeah, late ill kid at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bring you that street geek and nerd. So what is up, my people? Today, another wonderful episode, post-Christmas episode now of On Screen. We getting into live action stuff. We talking about Star Trek Discovery. I'd like to thank you for hitting that like button. I'd like to thank you for subscribing and sharing this to everybody you know. Being like, yo, man, I know you love Star Trek. Let's come talk about it. So, with that said, shout out to everybody early in the chat. I want to give a big shout out to, before I get started, a little bit of house cleaning. If you're brand new, I know I usually get started straight at the jump. Just a quick second. Big shout out to Hannibal Taboo. Big shout out to Solar Gray. Big shout out to RJ the Nerdy Brew. Big shout out to, those are the ones that have been covering the show with me. Well, RJ with another show. But anyway, bottom line is those guys have been holding down Star Trek Discovery for me this whole season. It's the holiday weekend, so you know, people just can't be here. Normally they'd be with me, but I want to give a big shout out to them because they are just awesome. I love talking about Star Trek with them. This show is great. That's how it is. Next up, before we get going, is if you are a Patreon supporter, make sure to check the message I dropped in there yesterday. DM me what I asked you to DM me, and I'll make sure I got some gifts for all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Some cool stuff for the holidays. So make sure you go and message me, and I'll get your gift to you. It's a bit late this year, but it's tough trying to get these gifts. I'm trying to get y'all guys some premium gifts from some cool creators and stuff, and sometimes schedules get crazy, but I got y'all gifts. DM me what I ask y'all to DM me in the post, and I'll get y'all what y'all need to get, and everything will be sweet. So now let's get into Star Trek Discovery episode 6, Stormy Weather, where we are in a very interesting place with a few of our characters. Normally I would ask you guys where y'all want to start off, but of course, I'll go where I'll try to start from the bottom and head up. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about Gray for a second because slide Gray to the side for a second. We'll talk to Gray and then get back to Gray in a second. I want to say that I love the vision of Black love in this show. We have a Black man and a Black woman together. They're not needlessly fighting. There's no manufactured drama. No one's in and out of the brig or jail or whatever. There's no drug usage, drug abuse, domestic violence, no nothing. There is a regular, healthy relationship between this Black man and this Black woman who love each other and want each other to shine. It is not about a status thing with them. It is not about competing with one another. It is not about anything except for how they feel about one another and how they care for one another. And it's been shown throughout the relationship, and I love it. you never see Book, treat her in a way that's demeaning, or treat Michael in a way where he doesn't care about her feelings. He considers her throughout. Not saying that she has to, be involved in every single decision, but he considers her feelings. He considers her thoughts. And he moves as someone who is in a relationship, because when you're in a relationship, you ain't on your own. You have to consider the other party. And same with her. And throughout this episode, we'll get into the kind of situation. No, we'll talk about the situation with his father in a second. Throughout this episode, we see him struggle with either the memory, the spirit, or the hallucination of his father. And his father directly attacks his relationship numerous times. And not once does he let that interfere with or shake his understanding or feelings of or for Michael at all. He stands on his square. He defends their relationship. He defends their love. And he stands right there beside her. I love that. On her side, you never see, because, okay, Book is not Book isn't like Federation. He's not like a ensign or a captain or whatever. He's kind of like there as I guess like an independent contractor or something like that. So technically, even though he's not on Federation, he's on the Discovery, in which Michael would have rank on him any day of the week. But we don't see her ever throw that in his face. She never uses it as a way to like control him. Nothing like that. And then he never throws the fact that I can leave whenever I want in her face, because they love one another and they want to build together whatever their future may be. And I love that. I love that so much about this show. That Black love is shown in a way where it's not about who you are or what you do or how much money you make or how we're going to compete with one another over some frivolous status or whatever. They love each other because of the experiences they've had together and how they feel about one another. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that hurts me is that for me to see that so few times in popular recent media, it's kind of, it hurts a little bit, because this is coming from what would be termed essentially a white property, a white show. You know what I'm saying? Like Star Trek is, Star Trek ain't Black owned. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that hurts is like, I'd really like to say that I was getting this from another show, getting this from another creator. Now, I will let you guys' minds run over the other creators that have current shows on right now, or current movies in production or out of production that have dropped in the last say 3 or so years since Star Trek Discovery started. And even though they are Black men or women, somehow cannot create a relationship this good and this strong between two Black people. I will ask you to ask those questions to those creators. With that said, I love their relationship. I truly do. And it's something that we need more of. And I really would have loved to see it come not only from this show, but also from the shows and movies that we get from other people that are Black, that are making shows and movies ever since Star Trek Discovery started, which was, I don't know, when did Discovery start? 2017, something like that? So think of all the movies that have come out from Black creators and TV shows where we can't seem to get a relationship. You know what I'm saying? That seems like a solid standard relationship. Because in general, by and large, Black men and Black women are getting married and living their lives and having a great time. And just chilling and going through life and building with one another. Yes, ups and downs, just like Michael and Book have, but they're staying together and they're staying strong. But that is not the vision of Black relationships that we get in popular media outside of this one. And what I mean by popular media is shows that are like, on this level of Star Trek, on the level of the movies and TV shows that you see. Not like, I ain't talking about some small short film that you saw at some kind of festival. So with that said, I love this relationship. I know it seemed long-winded, but it had to be said. Because I think that this is going unnoticed, and it needs to be noticed because we need one another. Now, but passing that, the Discovery done got in a pickle. Discovery comes through. All right, so Discovery like, yo, look, hey, all right, look, we done tracked down these particles, all right? We done tracked down the particles, we gonna go for it. We gonna find out where this is. We see the little subspace rift or rip or whatever. We gonna go through. We gonna see what's going on, all right? They go through, and it's a straight up void. And when they show that void before like the break or whatever, it makes me wonder how many other Federation ships or crews have been lost to some kind of, weird exploration that put them in some kind of void. Like, of course we have our shows like, Deep Space Nine or Voyager or Next Generation or Enterprise or, whatever. Those are the ships we know. What about the ships that we don't know? The ships they didn't have a TV show for that one. You know what I'm saying? Who knows how many people could have been lost in the sauce forever. All right? Forever. Oh, man. So I just wonder, I was like, man, I wonder how many people been lost for real. They're like, they ain't never coming back. Never. So, since they ain't never coming back, I did think about that for a second. Like, I wonder where they end up. What happens? Are they able to sustain themselves as a crew in whatever void or black hole or whatever they got locked in or trapped in, or did they just slowly die off and now there's just random ships floating somewhere that will never receive contact or whatever from again? You know what I'm saying? So that whole sense of being lost out in that void was something that I thought was extremely cool, especially when they pulled back, and it just seemed like infinite nothingness. And having the show deal with all of our like crew members and how they work together, and we didn't see any infighting, man, which is I love, because there's such a close-knit family now. There's very little fighting. You saw these people come together in a dope way. You saw Bryce come. Lieutenant Commander Joan even offered. I mean, her and Saru kind of got into it for a second, which I'll touch on in a second. But just seeing them come together, Stamets come together, Book, all these things really worked well. So let's go back to Gray real quick, let me know where you're at with the Gray thing, because last episode, I believe that Solar and I were saying like, hey, I like the fact that Gray is doing whatever is it like, I guess without Adira, you could say, like, Gray's doing, whatever, and he's chilling, kind of doing his thing, and don't really need to be kind of like up under or even I guess involved with Federation stuff, kind of like having, or I guess they I don't look, if don't come up in here is on accident, is not, then I think it's they, or is Adira only they, or is Gray only they? I don't know. I'm gonna treat them both as they for right now, but I don't know. But either way, whatever I term it, don't come up in here like it's some disrespectful stuff, because it's not. It's genuine, honest mistake. Ain't nobody trying to diss nobody here. Anyway, So Gray, they like own thing outside of, I thought that was going to be cool. Like to have someone on the ship that didn't have to be involved or didn't have to be up under either Adira or up under the Federation kind of like, dealings and protocols. I thought that was cool. And to see this episode the way it came along, I don't know. I'm not against it. It just seemed like the only thing that kind of dragged on me for a second was that it seems like they were trying too hard to make sure that Gray was involved in some sort of way with the show. And I'm like, Gray can be someone who's involved in the show, but not involved with the Federation. Like they don't have to be tied to like the protocols and stuff. Like Gray can do their own thing and just be kicking it. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought like the show was trying too hard to have Gray involved. Now, with that said, I do like Gray being involved with Zora. Now, because Gray can talk to Zora and be involved with Zora's personal life, I guess you could say, without having to kind of like go on the bridge. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you ran to the bridge to say something that Zora could have said like mad quicker than you got here. It just seems like, now, you could make the argument that there are things that Zora can't fully express with these kind of these emotions and feelings kind of being a new, I don't know, update or a new evolution of her programming or something. You know what I'm saying? Because of course we knew the sphere data would change the computer, forever. So maybe that argument can be made, but it just seemed really fast. It seemed like in seconds, Gray went from like kicking it with Zora. Well, no, it seemed like last episode, Gray was cool. We're like, yo, Adira, do your thing. Like I'm chilling, I'm great. And then went to Gray being like, oh, I don't know what to do. I need to be useful. On to talking to Zora and on to being on the bridge all in one episode. And I was like, it seemed like they were trying too hard to have Gray involved. And I think Gray can be involved in a way where it doesn't seem like strange for Gray to just be up on the bridge out the blue. Maybe I'm tripping. But on the side of going to the bridge and like having one-on-ones with the captain, which I was just like, But I do like Gray and that connection with Zora. Maybe giving Zora a confidant to have to talk and work through these new feelings they're processing, because Gray is processing the new body while Zora is processing the new feelings, and having their own relationship to the side of Federation issues, I think could be cool. But just, it seemed like the show was trying too hard to like have Gray involved. And I'm like, yo, we got enough people on the bridge that don't really get a lot of shine, that could get some shine, AKA Lieutenant Commander Joan, who like basically got brushed off super quick and hasn't really had a moment to shine like that. You know what I'm saying? At all, really, on the bridge. And could have had a moment, but was kind of like shut down real quick by Saru. And I'm like, well, the story had to shut her down because we spent all this time with Gray coming up on the bridge and all this mess. Now, shouts out to Stress Free K saying, seems like Gray is going to be the Zora Whisperer / Guardian and not the morale booster like Neelix was. And I'm cool with that. I think I'm cool with that. You know, just the bridge stuff, I was like, bruh, like, you got to run up on the bridge. Like, how do a regular person even get to the bridge? Anybody can just walk up on the bridge? Don't you have to have like a communicator or something? Like, You can't just who swiped your badge? How'd you get up in here? Like you can't just roll up on a bridge. Who you think you are? Anyway, this is a whole another thing. But yeah, I think Zora having someone to kind of process these new pieces of feelings, emotions, experiences are great. And having Zora not only have conversations with Gray, but then also conversations with Michael about being scared, about being worried, about taking on that guilt, things like that, were awesome because it's almost like we're seeing a all-powerful being sort of reverted to the understanding of a child with the onset of new emotions and feelings and things of that nature. Even from like telling jokes and stuff like that. I think it's cool. And we got a little piece of it earlier when Zora wanted to play a movie for the crew and stuff like that. Just starting to realize what morale and what feelings are. I thought it was cool. I think it's cool. And I really love how they're evolving Zora. They've taken their time and I really can't wait to see where that ends up. I really can't. Shouts to Stretch Free K saying that magistrate from the examples sure thought he could roll up on the bridge like a drive-through. Yes, thank you. Who is in control of the bridge security? Because I worked at a regular job that we had a badge. You couldn't come in that joint unless you had a badge. They are on the bridge of the Star Trek of the Discovery. The Discovery is one of the most important ships in the fleet because of how it can move and where it can go. You know what I'm saying? And how quickly it can get there. And they got the nerve to just let any old person run. That's right. You're right. The magistrate was just like, I'd like to talk to you. And she was like, excuse me? Who let you in here? So, but back to Zora. I like Zora. I like seeing that evolution. Really excited for where that goes. Now, to back up a little bit in the show, we did get, and let me know if you were wondering about this. We go to jump out of the rift because we're in a void. We go to jump out, right? And when we go to jump out, we end up finding that there's a surge from the electrical components that go into Book. Because Stamets, they come in, Stamets is doing his thing. Book's like, yo, let me know what you need me to do. And he's like, yo, I need you to get in the spore drive so we can jump. So cool, Stamets doing the computer thing, and Book's getting in there, puts his fingers in, they get ready to jump, right? They go to jump, and you get this electrical, like, surge, response, reaction. And we spend a little bit of time talking about the readings we get from Book's brain, because the shot comes through and it goes to his brain. They send him to Hugh and I forgot the young sister's name, but Hugh and the young sister, they're like working his brain, doing scans and all that, and they're like, hey, we got data from your brain scans, and that's going to help us. And I like that. I think that's great, but shouldn't they also have readings from the electrical components that were surged as well? Like, should Zora, or could the argument be that Zora doesn't really know what she was surged with because Zora's kind of preoccupied with new feelings and being cloudy with her judgment and stuff? Maybe, because I'm like, shouldn't you have gotten a reading from the components that were also surged? Like, shouldn't there have been a reading of like how much power, where the power went to, what kind of power, stuff like that? And I'm like, I felt like that was just completely skipped over or forgotten. And maybe, I don't know nothing about Star Trek tech. You know what I'm saying? I'm just assuming that there would be a reading from that. Or maybe there was a reading from that and it won't import. It didn't lead to any important things. So I thought that was weird. But after we got the rest of the episode with these hallucinations or connection to the other side with Book and his father, because he had mentioned that today is his past father's birthday. And I do not like when people can see someone that other people can't see. But this only lasted for one episode, so I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I don't mind having like a very extenuating circumstance, one episode thing. He's in and out, cool. Now, if his father's going to be there next episode and the episode after that, I'm going to be like, oh, here we go. Get your daddy out of here, all right? What's dead should stay dead. But I will say the conversations that they had that were so tied to his mindset were interesting to me. I will say that. I will say those conversations were interesting to me, and I thought they were important. So I will give credit and props to that. And we already covered like the conversation, of course, between him and Michael. I mean, him and his dad about Michael. So I'll kind of hit home about the whole thing with him not wanting, I guess, the type of revenge his father would have wanted, or that his father wants on whoever destroyed Quajon, and then juxtaposing that with his conversation with Saru, and Saru talking about the Ba'ul and the way the Ba'ul are now 1,000 years removed from the Ba'ul he knows. You know what I'm saying? And how he has to deal with it, saying like he is always filled with rage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always filled with rage, but I also kind of understand that these are a completely different and changed people. Something has happened in the 1,000 years between my people and theirs that has reconciled what has gone on, whatever reparations were paid or done. And then they were able to come together and meet out those differences and build together. And that I can see being very jarring from someone who goes from, hey, the last time I saw anyone who was Ba'ul, they were trying to kill us. They were demeaning us. They were beating us down, whatever. And now everybody's cool. Like, I can definitely see that anger being there and seeing it almost as a direct replacement or pastiche for someone who experienced, or still experiences white supremacy in the system that we're in, jumping 1,000 years from now and being like, oh, hold up. So everybody's cool? Like, oh, so, you know what I'm saying? And, like a whole bunch of the host of the issues that we deal with now are gone. And feeling almost like a fish out of water in time and also in society due to no one else feels this way about these people but myself, and me not wanting to poison the people of today with those feelings and memories, because this is a new alliance that has been formed and it's good. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that in him kind of, I guess, maybe not coaching him, but counseling him through that. And I thought that was cool, man. Shouts to Saru. Saru counseled Book and counseled Lieutenant Commander Joan, even though Lieutenant Commander Joan was shut down by him, which I didn't really like, because I felt like it was valid what she was trying to do. But I also get, we in danger. We have to do what we can to try to save the ship. So, Saru made the best decision he could try to make. You know what I'm saying? So I get that too. All in all, Saru this episode showed up and showed out. I really dug it. Adira and Gray was kind of whack together. Adira and Zora is a much better pairing for me. I'm like, yo, I like this. Adira and Zora together I like that. Adira just rolling up on the bridge, I thought that was like, what? Seeing the different crew kind of like hanging and chilling, I thought was fun as well. Seeing like Detmer just like working out and just hanging out, on the off time, I thought that was a lot of fun. So these small things came together to make a very strong episode for me. And outside of that, we got a whole bunch of cool science. Them just even to the point of like them working out the kind of like more procedural science of let's shoot a flare out there and count the time that it goes out there. And we know that the speed of the time and putting that together and how long will it take to hit us, stuff like that. And then also working on the sonar thing. And then Bryce being like, oh, we can use sonar. And then being like, what sonar? Because it would make sense. Like sonar is something we use now, but they're in the year, matter of fact, hold up, let me look up real quick. What year is Star Trek Discovery is set in? Set what year? Star Trek, the first season begins in year 2256, and then they jump 1,000 years in the future. So they're in year 3256, or sorry, well, technically 930 years, but it's 1,000. Let's just go there and say 1,000. I mean, let's just go and do that. It'll make easier for counting's sake. You know what I'm saying? Be like, oh, NERDSoul can't count. No. All right, no. Right. So anyway, they're in year 3256 or 3226, depending on how you want to, if you want to go in around it or not. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, what, 2,000 and some change, like 1,000, like 1,700 or whatever years ahead. They're mad ahead of us, all right? Way more ahead of, all right? Way more further than we's at, all right? Way. And so I can see them being like, hold up, what? Sonar? Because it's like, think about it. At the level of, I guess, advancement that Star Trek is in, it's kind of like, why even teach anyone about sonar? One, sonar is something that generally worked on planet Earth, but we're out in space. You know, we don't even need sonar no more. We have scanners and this, that, and the third, and, you know, galactic positioning or something. I don't know, something like that, whatever. So it's something that probably just fell by the wayside. Like, yo, it's a technology we don't need no more. It's like us being like, oh man, did you get that new cassette tape? Oh man, it's hot. It's like, nah, why? It's got an MP3 file. What I need a tape deck for? You know what I'm saying? Or I got, you know, or I just stream it. I don't even have an MP3 file. I just stream it. I go on my favorite service and stream whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Spotify, or YouTube Music or something. I don't know, or Pandora or something. I don't know. You know, just go on whatever and just stream it. So them having someone in Bryce to bring that up is something that I think is cool, because you see the minds around the room. You see Detmer be like, oh, all right, so that means it's like 32 minutes or something like that. You see Lieutenant Joan stepping in. You see Bryce, you know what I'm saying? You see Adira, like everybody is kind of like working together and putting their minds together, and you don't see that infighting and stuff. You don't see those arguments, because they become such a strong family from season 1. From someone who's followed this from the first episode, the crew has grown so much, and I'm so glad to see where they are now, because they work so well together. And we don't see a lot of fighting. I do miss Tilly to a certain degree, but I'm sure either the actress has to move on, or they're probably about to spin off something about like cadets, and that'll be something that's cool too. So, you know, it's like, hey, I miss Tilly, but Tilly got to do what's best for her, yo. So, all in all, this is a show that I think is not only necessary, but provides context into the threat that we're facing. And this threat that we get into is like, oh, hold up. So this is a new danger. Shout out to Mos Def on that. Oh, excuse me. Shout out to Yassine Bey. I ain't trying to disrespect the brother's name. This is a new danger that I am excited for, because I didn't want to retread an old enemy. So now having someone or some things or some people from another galaxy is very interesting to me. Also, it does make you wonder. I mean, we've talked about, you know, where are the Klingons right now? You know, where are Where's the Borg right now? I mean, I guess we'd assume that the Borg just kept getting smarter and smarter. I guess so. Like, where are they? But at the same time, you kind of don't even want to mess with them because we got new villains to have. You know what I'm saying? Or we can combo those up with some other villains next time. You know, we got to meet the Emerald Chain, and now whoever else we got. Even though is it Tariq? I think it's Tariq. Even though I don't trust Tariq, and I think Tariq knows exactly who these people are. But following these particles to the edge of the galaxy to see where this takes us is something that I am really excited for. I think we're gonna have a kind of like a back end of a season full of some cool adventures now that we've set up kind of where we gotta go to find who we need to find, maybe, hopefully. And I am super excited what we might see, what we might introduce to Star Trek now that we are going to the edge of the galaxy to find something new. So with that said, we got a new episode coming up this week. Hopefully, President will stay out the way. Don't want to see her. Hopefully, we'll see some more programmable matter. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is cool. Hopefully, we'll get some action sequences because I think we're kind of due. We got a good episode of thoughtful science and teamwork. Now we can get some action together, especially with Book where he is, Michael where she is, and the rest of the crew kind of ready to not only figure out what this is, but also put it into it quickly. So I am super stoked for this, man. The show finds a way to bring it, and from a budgetary standpoint, man, CBS is killing it with that dough. Because this show looked beautiful. The whole shot of them coming back through the rift, having Zora, even though this is an effect thing, but having Zora singing a song that was beautiful. Like, man, there's so much stuff in this show that I'm like, yo, man, they be coming through on just a production tip. Shouts to Stress Free K. Stress Free K says, this will be the last episode last episode next week until Disco goes on a break until February, so Prodigy can finish up, I suppose. Yeah. And I was wondering, because they did say it was getting ready to do a short hiatus, and my thing is, why? I don't feel, and you know what? Okay, so I kind of covered the episode to a certain degree. Stress Free K. Let's talk about this real quick. I don't see why Discovery has to go on a break because of Prodigy, because I don't think the two demographics cross over so much that they kind of interfere with one another's viewership. They come on days apart, and not really days apart. Let me take that back, because I think they both drop on the same day. Or is it one day apart? They come on, I think, one day apart, but you have one that's definitely geared towards kids, and then one that's definitely geared towards adults. Now, of course, I watch both of them. I cover both of them, but I don't think they're so similar that you can't air them both at the same time. But maybe I'm bugging, man. Maybe, CBS, like, look, we know what we doing. Or Paramount, like, we know what we doing. Because I'm like, look, give me that Star Trek now. Excuse me, Star Trek, not Star Wars. Go and give me that Star Trek now. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this will allow for Prodigy to have the center stage as a Star Trek show. So that is a plus. You know what I'm saying? Prodigy comes back and is the only show that's back, and that's all the Trek you can get. Then it also allows them to kind of push out the Trek, fandom. where it's like they can space it out more because, I mean, hey, if they run concurrently, when they both over, and you ain't got no more Trek. But if you space them, if you separate them, then you get more Trek, like longer versions of Trek. So I guess I can see that too. I can see both of them. Stretch Free K says, I agree. There could be other reasons, like getting the international rights to air Discovery and the rest of the world finalized. Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. That's a whole thing. Okay, yeah. There is a whole thing with the rights and, it not being on Netflix. Well, is it back on Netflix or is it still off of Netflix? I don't think it's on Netflix right now. I think they got to fix that. Well, for other countries. And since we're getting into a little bit of sort of like outside production news, shouts out to Discovery going to, I believe, IDW. There's going to be a comic book. Let me pull it up real quick because I will cover that too because I love this show. See, what is it? IDW's new Star Trek Discovery comic book series spotlights a crew marooned in the distant future. Article, let me drop this in the chat real quick so you guys can see it. And we'll kind of go through the article super duper quick. I won't read every single word, but just giving you a quick look. Comic book and graphic novel publisher IDW, who did an awesome job with Ghostbusters, an awesome job with IDW didn't do Street Fighter, did they? Udon did Street Fighter. Or did IDW do Street Fighter? I know they did Ghostbusters, so they did awesome with Ghostbusters. But all right, comic book and graphic novel publisher IDW today announces the United Federation of Planets' far-flung future will be further explored in a new 4-issue miniseries, Star Trek Discovery Adventures in the 32nd Century. A new series reunites co-writers Kirsten Beyer and Mike Johnson, hopefully I pronounced her name right, whose previous collaboration on Star Trek Discovery comics included The Light of Kalas, Succession, and Aftermath, which I did not know about, so I'm gonna have to pick those up and see. Hopefully they got a collected edition so I can just pick them up real quick, and I will look for those and we'll see. The authors are joined by artist Angel Hernandez, celebrated by fans for his work on Star Trek, Green Lantern, and Spectrum War, most recently Star Trek Manifest Destiny. So these joints are gonna drop, I believe, in March, because I wanna say they said they're gonna start in March. I think that's when they're gonna start dropping, but there's gonna be like 2 variant covers, which I might pick up, might not pick up, depending on how I feel. But it says each issue of Adventures in the 32nd Century will spotlight a different cast member, and the first issue's focus promises a unique perspective from the Star Trek franchise as it reveals the secret history of the Queen herself, Grudge the Cat. A flashback tale of her first meeting with Cleveland Booker sets the stage for a trajectory establishing Grudge as the greatest feline spacefarer of all. Subsequent issues will focus on Ensign Adira Tall, which I hope is cool, because Adira, I'm not super high. I mean, I don't hate her, but I'm just like, we're going to highlight somebody like Adira is, But Adira Tall, Lieutenant Kayla Detmer, and Science Officer Linus. Adira is kind of weak for me, but here's the thing. In a comic book form, that might be the perfect place to explore Adira because we don't have to kind of like dig deep on an episode. And it might be something cool. I think her coolest days, like the whole baptism thing and the speaking to the last host and stuff, was probably like the best part of her kind of like character development. But you never know, man. Could be other dope stories to tell with Adira, and we'll see how that goes. But now that I know there's other Star Trek Discovery books, man, I've been slipping. I've been slipping. So now I gotta get up on mine. So I will look that joint up. I think these joints drop in March. So I'll check that out. And yeah, I'm I'm hyped to see what they do with the Queen, especially since we know there's way more to Grudge than they let on. Way more. So back to this. With that said, man, episode was good. Episode was fresh. Stress-free Key says, I hope Grudge is telepathic so that she could be communicating with Book all along. Yeah, I think that'll be dope. And Malcolm Lee says, I like Book, good character. Yeah, Book is dope. So, like, that would be cool for, like, Grudge to, all the time be communicating, but just doesn't feel like talking to other people. Be like, oh, well, Grudge can talk to you. Why didn't she ever say anything to me? I don't like you. That's what. You don't want me, then don't talk to me. So, with that said, guys, we're going to go and get up out of here. Say what's up.
Say what's up.
Say hi.
Hey.
Say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Or happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Merry Christmas and happy birthday to all y'all. So with that said, we're going to get up out of here. Shouts out to everyone who was part of the show this year. In general, we'll do a New Year's stream to kind of like give props to everyone who rolled through this year. But on Star Trek Discovery side, just in case they're not here next week, Solar Grey, Hannibal Taboo for Star Trek, and for Doom Patrol, definitely much love to you guys. And then, of course, we're going to leave y'all with P.L. Parker Lewis, Arcatron, of course, Anwar Highsign. And from us to you, thank you for rolling through. And, oh, you want to say peace? All right, say peace. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, say peace.
Peace.
Yeah, and we out. Until next time, which will be 5 p.m. tonight, 5 p.m. PST, we have Hawkeye. We'll be talking about the finale. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. So you guys stay real, and that's it, right? We ready to go? You ready to go?
I'm going to leave Pierre Park Lewis and Arctron and Emo Hassan.
Yep. We're gonna leave on here. So, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. Make sure to follow me. Once again, Patreon supporters, if you have not checked the message, check the message. DM me what I need you to DM me. I got gifts for y'all. And make sure to follow me wherever you be at, yo. If you on Instagram, follow a brother. You know what I'm saying? If you on TikTok, follow a brother. If you on Facebook, like the page. Do all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? The more the algorithm works, help me help you. So until then, we got Podcast for Listen, Spotify for Music. We're going to be dropping a new joint on New Year's. It's going to be fun. So until next time, peace.
Let me do that.
Oh, let you do. Go get. We out.
I'm the man, yes sir, that killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for our legal to drink. I care what a broke is bigger thing.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too sharp, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grind together, we all came from hunger.